I know our chat question of the day is, how will you remember OJ Simpson? And the options, outstandingly thus far, with 70% of the early vote, is as a murderer, 12% of the vote as an NFL MVP, and then a Heisman Trophy winner, and a funny personality, splitting with 9% at this exact moment. But how I will remember OJ Simpson is a complete catalyst into the reality television celebrity culture that we exist with today. And the news did break yesterday towards the end of our show that OJ Simpson died of cancer. And it's one of those deaths that is a little weird because you don't usually associate an RIP with it. Twitter was off the charts yesterday with the responses to OJ Simpson's death, but it really did close out one of the craziest celebrity stories of all time and one of the most impactful people in America media culture. Again, I don't want to strip away from the very real victims and the people who had something absolutely horrific happen within their lives. And so often with the story of OJ Simpson, those people get removed and they are very important to the story, and their legacy is important within the story. But when you look at some of the conversations yesterday, like, wow, can you imagine what Twitter would have been like during the Bronco chase? Can you imagine what the internet would have been like during the trial of the century?
We got a taste of it yesterday with
sure
the man
did.
dying. Like, we got a taste.
I saw somebody put the Fast and Furious song, "It's Been a Long Time," that song over the Ford Bronco chase. Somebody created a Ford Bronco hearse that was supposedly taking OJ away. We did get like a small little brief moment like, oh, this is what it would have been like. But we don't have this version of our culture and how we respond to stories like this and an obsession with celebrity and who celebrities really are without OJ Simpson. Like, when you go back to that trial in 1995, that was a time before reality TV. That was a time before the 24/7 cable news cycle. And you look at the car chase first, and we have car chases, period, today where they are using the helicopter cameras, and they happen often in Los Angeles, but around the country because of what happened with OJ Simpson. We have an obsession with murder trials and with the disgusting nature of how into murder trials and crimes we as a society get because of OJ Simpson. We have reality television for some degree because of OJ Simpson and because of the Kardashians. And there is a direct correlation between the Kardashians and OJ Simpson because Robert Kardashian was one of OJ Simpson's attorneys. And without Robert Kardashian being who he was, perhaps when Kim Kardashian makes a sex tape with Ray J in 2003, it doesn't spawn off into the Kardashians of it all. And, you know, I joke about The Golden Bachelor, but The Bachelor came out in 2002, and it just became such commonplace for us all to get lost in the sauce of strangers and escaping our own lives, becoming so wildly invested in others. And OJ Simpson was like the perfect catalyst for it because he was so popular. Like, he was a celebrity that transcended out of sports. Yes, he was an NFL player. Yes, he was a Heisman winner, but then he became a movie star and a TV star and just a celebrity, period. And so when Nicole ends up murdered and OJ is accused, everybody is invested in that. How old were you when it happened?
I was second grade.
Okay.
I was second grade, and we talked about it on HBCU Huddle. Everything you're saying is right from a pop culture reference, but it wasn't just everybody was interested because the plurality of OJ, right? Like, he's got a lot of things happening around him. The popularity is there. Yes, the everybody knows him and loves him. The Hertz commercials, the movies, the Heisman, the NFL MVP, the sports commentary, right? Like, people loved OJ Simpson. People enjoyed OJ. He was one of those types of athletes. But then you get into the racial component of it, and if you hadn't seen the 30 for 30 OJ Simpson Made in America, great. It is the best 30 for 30 that is out there.
Won an Oscar.
Five parts. Mm-hmm. 5 parts, and every single part of it is good and important to fully understand what it is that OJ Simpson was at that time. Kip is in the chat bringing up the fact that OJ Simpson infamously said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." Right? A black man known for what a lot of black men do when they get successful, known for running after white women, right? Like, go out there, it's love, fine, marry a white woman, I'm done, I don't need to be black. I'm something else entirely. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. Hey, Johnny, how we going to defend me? You're going to be black. We're going to play up this blackness, and we can get away with playing up your blackness because of how poorly the LAPD and that district attorney's office have treated black people throughout time, not just historically, but here recently. When you think about the Rodney King situation, the riots that had popped off, and after that, and Watt riots and Watts, you think about some of the police-backed murders and beatings that have taken or had to have taken place around that time in LA. Like, the black citizenry, not just in LA, but around the country, was fed up with that particular police precinct. And to see, or police department, excuse me, and for this to be now the thing, it's like, hey, not sure if he did it. I don't want to believe it. And then you get police officers have been riding around with OJ's blood in the car for how long? No, that seemed like a setup to me. Then you get this police officer is running around letting N-words fly. Oh, yeah, no, they're trying to get this black man. They're jealous because he's black and he's rich. And this is the things that they do. And then you get into that component of it as well.
The glove doesn't fit.
The gotta quit, man.
Got a nice catchphrase.
They talk about this. One of the things that I remember, and it's been a while since I watched it. I'm going to go back and watch it. But the OJ Simpson Made in America, one of the things I remember is one of the attorneys sitting there like, yeah. So we walked into OJ's house, and there was like nothing we could use in there. Like, we're trying to defend them, and it's just OJ with famous person, and there are no black people on the wall. No black people at all. Like, OJ, give us as many pictures of black people as possible. We're going to throw these up on the wall because the jury's going to come walk through and see what's going on in here. They were looking at the scene of the crime or what have you. And that's what they did. They put all the black people they could up on the wall to try and highlight the fact that, hey, this is just a system coming after a black man. It could be any one of us black people. The jury it was a lot of black people on that jury, right? It's one of those stories that when we talk about race and racism in America, the systemic nature of it, like, this is kind of the result when everybody picks their side and then boom, we're on our side. If my side does something wrong, whatever, they're on my side, though. If your side does something wrong, we're on you about it. And that kind of, Mike Wallace brought this up yesterday during HBCU Huddle. That's kind of when lines really started getting drawn and getting formed. And everybody, we've always been separated, right? But everybody kind of flocked to their side and was like, okay, this is my side. Nothing we can do can be wrong, and you can't be critical of us. On that episode of HBCU Huddle, you should watch it because Mike tells a great OJ story. Okay. A great story about OJ Simpson, about the 12-minute mark. Watch it, and for that alone, it's great.
Yeah, no, that is such an interesting component of it. My mom always tells a story. I was so young. I was 3 years old. And so when I think of moments that changed culture for me, it's OJ Simpson peripherally, because you know something big is going on. And even when you're that young, you have some idea. And then
I knew I was different.
Right.
Because of the OJ. Like, that's when some of that innocence that parents try and protect their children. Like, I was in school, the verdict broke. No surprise it might be surprising to some of you, but the school I had didn't have very many black teachers. It was mostly white women. And so all the white women teachers were gathered around consoling one another. And the students are trying to figure out what happened. And one of them looks up and says, hey, kids, they let him off. Like, let who off? They found him not guilty. Who? OJ. I was like, great, he didn't do it. And the mood shifted immediately. I felt their ire immediately. It was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Got in the car with my mom and told my mom what happened. She's like, no, they're idiots. You're right. It's like, oh, okay, this is my side. This is the side I'm on. He didn't do a side. Got you.
Yeah, my mom always tells a story about how she was at a dinner party and she dared to say, well, what if OJ didn't do it? And she swears from that point forward, the person who she said that to never respected her the rest of her life. And that's how staunchly those lines were drawn. And the fact that she even had the audacity as a white woman at a dinner party to say, well, what if he didn't? Was like, wow, you are the stupidest person at this table. I no longer respect anything that's coming out of your mouth.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hart, live every weekday at 8 a.m.